This video focuses on putting together an oral presentation. In this video, we're focusing on oral presentations. This is a very brief overview since public speaking is a topic that really deserves its own course. The main focus for us is to use oral presentations to help you to refine your thinking about your essay or your paper. As you start thinking about preparing your oral presentation of your research, remind yourself of your purpose and your audience. Be clear about why you are writing the essay and creating the presentation. Think not only about what you want the audience to learn, but also what the audience is expecting. Next, review the work you have done so far. What is most important about what you have learned so far? Then you need to ask yourself, what is the main point of my essay? What am I arguing? And how can I explain it well? How can I best present this information? As you are asking these questions, imagine that you're explaining your research and your argument to your mother or your grandmother. How can you explain it in a way that is accessible in terms of language and ideally in images? In an oral presentation, you can usually use some audio visuals. If you choose to use audio visuals, make sure you're using them for a specific purpose and that you're not just throwing in something for, just for show. Many of the decisions that you made regarding organization, word choice, and sentence structure will still apply for an oral presentation. However, because it's harder for audiences to follow oral presentations than it is to read an article, you may want to bring the level of technicality and complexity down a notch. Long sentences and multisyllabic words are harder for a listening audience to remember and understand than it is when they read the same words and sentences. If I have to use long words or jargon when I'm doing a presentation, I will often put that word on the slide with a definition so it's easier for the audience to follow along. Similarly, if I have to describe an object or a concept, I will try to find a visual to go along with it. Again, so it's easier for the audience to follow along. As you prepare your presentation, think about the best and worst speakers you have seen. What made them either the best or the worst? What can you learn from those speakers? The best speakers will have credibility. Credibility is about how much the audience will respect and value what the speaker has to say. As you will remember from other videos, credibility will be derived from things like expertise and credentials, previous research, previous interactions, and so on. When you're watching a speaker for the first time, what aspects of the speaker's performance will contribute to credibility? First, there is confidence. If the speaker comes across as confident in what he or she is arguing, then you will attribute more credibility to him or her than if the person seems uncomfortable or uncertain about what he is saying. Now remember, confidence is not the same as arrogance. Someone who is confident in her work will be open to new ideas and approaches. Someone who is arrogant will not listen to other people. A confident person will make eye contact with members of the audience. The delivery of the speech will include vocal variation. In other words, don't speak in a monotone. Vary your tone and your level of enthusiasm. If you only talk in a monotone, not only will your audience fall asleep, but they will think you are bored with your own work. Of course, solid preparation will always serve you well. The more prepared you are, the smoother your delivery will be. Better preparation also means that you are better able to answer questions from the audience. In addition, mistakes in your presentation will undermine your credibility. So if your talk has lots of mistakes in it, the audience will wonder if you really know what you're talking about. Similarly, if your presentation is disorganized or you don't provide sources, your credibility is again undermined. Finally, your attitude toward the audience is important. As I've already said, arrogance will turn off your audience. If you speak down to your audience, you will insult them. If you are unpleasant or disrespectful, your credibility is further undermined. Together, these things form a package which will be evaluated by the audience. They will gauge the effectiveness of your style, your attitude, and your preparation. Your words will be interpreted in different ways, but the tone, vocal variety, and emphasis will all influence the effect or the impact of those words. The best way to deal with nerves before a presentation is to practice. You can practice in front of a mirror or you can video record your presentation. A video recording allows you to see how you look as well as hear what you say. Finally, present in front of real people who can give you feedback. Now, if you know you will be standing when you do your final presentation, practice while standing. If you will be sitting, then practice sitting down. If you're recording your presentation, notice your fidgets so that you can try not to do those things in the final presentation. Well, the content is the most important thing. Distracting fidgets can take away from your presentation. One time I was being videotaped talking about teaching methods. When I viewed the video later, I realized that when I'm standing and I'm recording, I can't walk around the classroom as I do when I'm teaching. So what I did was I tended to sway while I was talking. So I had to redo the video sitting down so that I would not sway. I'm sure you've seen similar things or done them yourself. If your presentation will be done in front of a live audience, the trick to projecting your voice so that everyone can hear you is to talk to the person in the farthest corner of the room. Remember, you don't want to shout. You'll lose your voice very quickly if you do. Project from your belly, speaking to the person furthest away from you. You may have heard that to get over your fear of public speaking, you should picture your audience naked. Well, I don't know about you, but this really does nothing for me, since most people in a room like that are not those that I would ever want to see naked. What works better, I think, is to come to your presentation early, to get set up and comfortable with the room, visit the room the day before your presentation if possible, to think about how to tailor your presentation to suit the room. You are responsible for making sure that you can present no matter what. Then, as people come into the room, talk to a couple of them, introducing yourself and finding out something about them. Then, once you start your presentation, you can make eye contact with those people, and they will most likely smile encouragingly at you as you present. In other words, make some friends before you present.